So there I was. It was nighttime and I was on the beach near El Parque Nacional Tortuguero in Costa Rica. There was a tour guide narrating in Spanish, describing the turtles. And I was translating into Italian for some Italians on holiday who didn't really speak Spanish. We were all on a tour to see sea turtles laying eggs at night, which I highly recommend you go if you get a chance. And you had to use an infrared flashlight because a normal one would scare them. Unfortunately, a storm was coming and the tour guide explained that the turtles would be too scared to lay eggs and we should all get back to town. Thus our trip would be wasted. Now, before you go thinking that I was awesome at Italian since I was translating for an Italian couple, I'd taken 1 semester of Italian a few years before this experience, so at best, I could remember a few words and mostly resorted to saying va bene, va bene, va bene, va bene, va bene, which is a filler and means okay. So I had to translate from Spanish to Italian, and I'd forgotten quite a bit. I don't know how to say storm, and I didn't remember the word for rain or thunder either. So here are the words that I said to express that the turtles weren't able to lay eggs because they were afraid of the storm. Le tartarughe han paura dell'acqua nell'aire. Which I can't even guarantee is good Italian, but the Italian couple I translated for seemed to understand it okay. But why didn't I explain it better? I couldn't. Why did I explain it the way I did? I tried to use the words I know. So instead of saying rain, I said the water in the air, because that's what I knew how to say. And this is called circumlocution. Circum what? Well, okay, let's look at the etymology or origin of the word. So it turns out that circumlocution comes from the Latin word circumlocutionem, or however you might say that. If we break that up, we have circum, which is like around, circa, and locutionem is a speaking. This is a borrowed word from the Greek word periphrasis, which I don't know how it's pronounced Greek, so that's my guess. Peri means roundabout, and phrasis there would be to express, like, you kind of get the word phrase from there. Kind of cool. Anyways, back to circumlocution. The idea in the Greek word suggests we are expressing ourselves or talking in a roundabout way. Get it? Let me use an example to see if I can explain it a little bit more. Let's imagine that you have a friend who lives in a different part of the world, and you need to send them a letter letting them know about the freak accident with your beloved pet pinata and the lawnmower. So you write a letter and send it to them through airmail, which some people still do, and it goes on a mail plane, thus the name airmail. But maybe you wrote the address wrong, or someone decided to open your letter and look for a money order inside, and it never made it to your friend. Okay, so that won't work. Plan B. You write out the same letter on the computer so you can just email it to them. So you send them the email telling them of this freak accident, but they never respond. Maybe the email went into their junk folder, or maybe you have the wrong email address, or maybe somebody hacked their email months ago, begging others for money and deleting all their contacts. Okay, so maybe you just decide to call them or text them the same information from the letter, but either you have the wrong number or their number is disconnected. So however you end up doing it, maybe you just get so sick of it all and need a vacation anyways that you decide to go visit your friend and hand them the heartfelt letter about the fate of your pet pinata. And they finally get the letter! Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. What can we see in this example? It took various tries to get the message to them. In each try, you didn't stick to the same method. While the message stayed the same, the method of delivery was different. You didn't just keep mailing letters or calling, you tried another way to get the message to them. Okay, so how does this relate to circumlocution and communication with other people? Think of the letter as the message, what I want someone else to understand. And they don't understand when I tell them. So what do? Well, do I just say the same exact thing but slower, louder, and waving my arms? I guess I could try that. Or I could change the words that I use to talk around it in a way that might help them understand. So the plane, phone, and email all represent ways I can express the message to them. Maybe as I tell the message, they get lost the first time, so I change the way that I explain to them the message, but it's still a little hard for them to get it, so I try one more time in a different way so they understand. That's circumlocution, or talking around. Finally, the globe represents the reason for circumlocution in the first place. A communicative distance between us, something that hinders them from reading my mind exactly. This could be due to their mind being preoccupied today with something else, Maybe it's a result of them being from a different culture, using a different language, or having a different upbringing from me. Since our life experiences are different, I can't always expect for them to understand exactly what I'm thinking, right? Although it'd be nice. And so I would need to use circumlocution when those differences make communication more difficult if I want to get my point across. Okay, so how does this idea of circumlocution help us in our day-to-day lives or even our learning another language? Think of communication as a negotiation of meaning. You have a symbol in your head, or an idea in your head, that you want another person to understand. So here, this person conveys his idea well, so the other person sees the exact same image. But if he didn't, he'd have to keep talking around the ideas to make sure there's no more confusion. And if you communicate well, people are going to understand your message for the most part. But if they have a different life experience, culture, or language, that might affect how they understand you. Just the other day, I met some people from Canada and they asked me, "Where's the washroom?" By the context, I could obviously figure out that they were looking for a bathroom. But if I had no idea, how else could they have explained it? Pause the video and think of a way to use circumlocution to talk about a bathroom without using bath or room or bathroom. Maybe they could have asked, "Do you know where that place with a sink, a mirror, and a toilet is?" And I would have thought of that place and imagined that picture, knowing what they were talking about. Sure, it's a silly example, but if a person doesn't understand you, you have to change what you say so that they can understand. That's circumlocution. And so here's what I want you to try now. I have a couple of situations that you might one day find yourself in, and I want you to try and circumlocute based on the rules that I give you. Feel free to pick one situation or do them all. Situation 1. Your stomach hurts and you have to go see the doctor. How do you explain how you feel to the doctor when you can't remember the words stomach or hurts? It's tough. Situation 2. You're eating soup in a classy restaurant and you suddenly find what you think is a toe in your soup. Ugh. How would you tell your waiter the problem without using the words toe or soup? One more. Situation 3. Aliens have landed from outer space and you have found out that they want to enslave humanity and force us to clean their bathrooms. Ugh. How would you warn everyone without using the words aliens, enslave, humans, or people? So go ahead and write your answers in the comment section and let's see how you do. And that's it for this lesson on circumlocution, or talking around something. Hopefully you found it helpful. Don't forget to try out your own circumlocution skills in the comments section. Also, feel free to subscribe to my channel for updates on new Spanish video lessons. And I would like to extend those things that you extend to people before they say you're welcome, because you used your eyes and consciously absorbed the information.